Okay. Hi, guys. Here is our first team call of the month of August. We skipped last week coming out of Summit. Many of you saw I had just gone live in the team page to sort of talk about Summit and my takeaways and really the importance of making sure that you're registered for next year. So I hope that everybody got in before that deadline cut off last night. If you haven't gotten in yet, the tickets are now $195, so make sure that you grab yourself a spot. I'm trying to see if I had anything else. I think that was it. I just really wanted to make sure that everybody got their tickets and is planning for it, is ready for it. So I am super excited to sort of jump back into team calls. We know the month of July was really crazy with everybody on vacation and all the traveling that I was doing. So now that my kids are getting ready to go back to school next week, I'm happy to kind of jump back into these and get back on a normal schedule. So I am excited to kick it off with our speaker today. She's here to talk about growing your network and relationship building. And this is a girl who started building this business with zero network. And when I say zero, I mean zero. She didn't know anybody. She's going to share her story with us and talk about how she grew. She has been a coach since 2012. She is a 5-star diamond in her first center, a 1-star in her second. She's a Success Club legend and a 2-time premier coach. And she's also a wife and mom. So she's busy just like all of us. So she's the founder of Team Shine. And I'm so happy to have Ashleen on the call today. So thank you for taking the time. I know it's early where you are. I'm going to kind of just mute myself and I'm going to turn it right over to you and let you sort of just take it away.
Awesome. Thank you for the introduction. I'm really excited to talk to you all. And honestly, I like this. I've never done a team call at this time of day and it's good. You can get it done, get out of the way, have good energy for the rest of the day and all that. So how my calls normally work is I'm not one of those coaches that comes up with the big, beautiful PowerPoints and stuff like that. I'm not blonde, I'm not a bombshell and all that. I really weave my lessons into a story, pure and simple. So I'm just really going to go into my story today. And there's little nuggets hidden in there, here, there, and everywhere. So my story begins, I am an immigrant from Northern Ireland. There's the accent coming out now. And I've lived in the US for about 6 years or so. So whenever Brianne is saying that I didn't know anybody, I literally knew nobody except my husband, because that's how I came to live here, and our roommates that we lived with. When I became a coach, that was pretty much the only people I really knew. So that's really where the story is going to go here about how anyone can build this business. We've heard the excuses from people who say, I don't know anyone, or I don't know that many people, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, I actually knew no one. And, it may take me a little bit longer, but I'm still getting to where I want to go, and anyone else can do it. I'm complete proof of that. So a little bit about how Beachbody came into my life. So about 5 years ago, just after my husband and I got married, we actually got separated by immigration. I had to go back to Ireland for 5 months, and he had to stay in the US while we were waiting for my green card and all that paperwork to process. So it was a really long time to be without your significant other. I mean, we've all been apart from our significant other for a few days or a week or a couple of weeks. Maybe some of you have even experienced it for a few months. So 5 months was a very long time. It was 20 weeks. It was absolute hell. I was just going through an absolute nightmare. It was just terrible. I fell into my lowest point in my life. I fell into a depression. It was just bad. And so I had this flashback to whenever I'd been in the US and I'd seen this infomercial with this crazy guy jumping around the place saying dig deeper and all that stuff. And I was like, I should try that, because why not whenever you're completely depressed and whatever, right? Just go all out within a program like Insanity. So a little backstory to that. I've never been into fitness, right? I'm not that fit girl. I was never super overweight or anything. I had about 20 pounds to lose, but I was what you would consider skinny fat, I guess, where I was a little bit flabby. I had no muscles. I just wasn't healthy. I grew up in Ireland. I started drinking when I was 14. I started smoking when I was 14. That's how we roll over there, okay? We hang out in pubs because it rains all the time. That's just how we roll. That's why it's green, right? So for me, just never been in shape, never been healthy, never really knew how. I tried going to the gym and all that kind of stuff, but my confidence and my self-esteem was so low that I would go into the gym and I'd seriously last 10 minutes. I would try to do something. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like everyone was looking at me. I would just leave. So I just did not like it at all. That's why I'm a home workout girl. I like to hide in my house and work out, right? So, I tried all the crazy diets, pills. I remember I bought this crazy thing on a shopping channel where, I don't know if you guys have seen this, right? It was like this ab thing. You like hold on to it and you like crunch down like this and like apparently get a six pack. Yeah, whatever. I tried that. I tried everything. And so whenever I had really hit rock bottom and I was in Ireland, I just thought, you know what, this thing has to work. This insanity thing has to work. Like, it just looks too crazy to not work. And so I gave it a go. And from day one, I did my fit test, and I seriously almost died, like completely out of shape, smoker, drinker, everything. It was crazy, but I realized, you know what, I didn't die. I survived. And so the next day, day 2, I was crippled, but I pushed play again. And I just kept going. It gave me something to focus on. It was my one thing to get me through like my prison sentence away from my husband. And the next thing I knew, 1 week had passed and I started to see results. And it wasn't really the exterior journey, though that's the fantastic thing about going on this journey with Beachbody. It really was the interior journey. Whenever I'd first met my husband, it was actually because I was backpacking. I left Northern Ireland. I had been in an awful relationship with someone for 4 years. He left me a very broken woman. I was mentally and emotionally abused. It was just really, really bad. And so I had no self-esteem. I had no confidence. I still have this thing in my head where I don't feel like people remember me and stuff like that, because I just see myself as someone who just blurs into the background. But when I started doing Insanity, I started to feel like someone again. I started to discover that there was more to me, that I could actually achieve something, even if it was just something as simple as a workout. I just started to get confidence in myself. And whenever you start to see yourself get into a little bit of shape, go a little bit longer, do a couple more burpees and stuff like that, it was just boosting me. It was exactly what I needed at the time. So anyway, I completed the program, totally addicted, fell in love, busted me. It's Insanity. We always like hurt something because of all the plyo. But I was just, I became the vital behavior proof the product works before I was even a coach. I was just living the lifestyle, loving it, screaming it from the rooftops. So much so I did another round. And so it got me through my full sentence over in Ireland. I did 2 rounds of Insanity. And by the time I came back to the US, I was like ripped, but I was just really confident. My husband saw the difference in me immediately, just my personality, how much I was just like loving life, just a completely different me, lit up. And so whenever I came over to the US, my coach found me online, Heather Foltz, and she was like, okay, like, you need to be a coach. You're just like rambling on about this Beachbody stuff. You're rambling on about Insanity. You're doing everything I do. You're just not making money. And I was like, okay. And I didn't really like see it for the money thing at the time. Not that it's a bad thing, but for me, I just needed accountability, because now that I come back to the US, I was falling back into those old patterns of being with your hubby, eating crappy food, not working out, all that stuff. I wasn't on the mission to get in shape anymore. So I said yes to the coaching opportunity purely because it would keep me accountable. That was my why in the beginning. And I think a lot of us start out that way, but our whys, they grow and evolve over time. So I've been a coach. It's going to be 4 years next month. That's going to be my anniversary. So we're talking like 4 years ago here. My why is completely different now. It evolved along the way of my journey, and I'll get into that. But yeah, that's how it all began for me. At that stage, I was working in retail. I was working for a minimum wage in Whole Foods Market. As much as I loved working in Whole Foods Market, like it was a fantastic place to work, it was still customer service. It was still getting abuse from like every other customer who happened to be in a bad mood and would take out something on you that was like nothing really to do with you. It was minimum wage. Your day off, if someone doesn't show up, you get called to come in, or you have to come in and work all night and do inventory and count stock. It was a great environment, but it's just not where I wanted to be. I knew there was so much more. So at this stage, I was already doing the coaching thing, and I was starting to think, I wonder if like I could do a bit more with this. Maybe I can get out of this job. And then I started to see people post on my team page and share stories about their financial wins, like how they were paying off bills. And one coach in particular, who's a friend of mine, Natalie O'Leary, she was starting to talk about how she was planning to quit her job in corporate America, go full time. So her and I started around the same time. We're like little success partner BFFs. And so that planted the seed of actually becoming full-time coach. It was really witnessing the other people around me do it. I just didn't know so much back then. When we started, there wasn't really trainings. We were all kind of just in it together, like trying to like stay above water. But yeah, I made that my goal. My why started to shift to just doing this full-time as a career. Within 7 months of being a coach, I fired my boss. I left Whole Foods Market and I went full-time as a Beachbody coach. And let me tell you something. It wasn't that I had to do hours and hours every single day to achieve that in 7 months. And I certainly wasn't someone who blasted out of the gate in this business. It seriously was probably about an hour or two every day, but I was consistent. I didn't stop. I was always at it. It wasn't, I'll work one day here and then I'll work like 5 hours a couple of days later or 10 hours. It was just a little bit every day. So I'd wake up, I would do a little bit of work, find some people, then I would actually go to my job on my break and my lunch, my half-hour lunch. I would just be on my phone. I would be forming people, connecting people, inviting. And then in the evening, I would do like another hour, hour and a half. And that's what I did every single day. And I was super passionate about it. And I saw the end goal. And as each month progressed, I could see my income started to increase. And so as soon as I matched my income, I was like, see ya, I'm out. So that was where my first transition in the business happened, I guess, 7 months into it. That's also where something very significant happened in my Beachbody career too. So that was March 2013. And that's when I was invited to do my first ever Team Cup. And this is significant because we're in Team Cup right now. So hands up if you're in a Team Cup team right now. Okay, whoop, whoop, right. Good for the ones who are doing it. For the ones who didn't put their hand up, here's a little lesson for you. Okay, so Team Cup, the reason why I promote it so much is, yes, it's good for volume and all that kind of stuff, but for me, it's where I saw my potential. If I had have never been in a Team Cup team, I would have never known what I was actually capable of. So as I was saying, when I first became a coach, I didn't really know anybody. I knew my roommates and my husband. I knew the people I worked with a little bit, but not that well enough to be like, we're friends kind of thing. I didn't know many people. So I had to get to work on building my network completely online. So what I would do back then is I used to hang out in like the Sean T page or whatever. And when people ask questions, I would just jump on, give them value, answer their questions, have a conversation back and forth, that kind of thing. And when they felt comfortable enough or we had talked enough, I would be like, hey dude, like I have a free group over here. It's full of other insaniacs. We're keeping each other accountable. Do you want to join? And so that's how I built my network in the beginning, just having a free group and adding people to that. Of course, they didn't have a coach. If they did, then I was like, okay, you work with your coach kind of thing. I just made them make a free membership under me to get into my free group, and that was it. So it was all about pouring value into those people for the first few months and building it and building it. And that's a lesson in itself. Now we're encouraged so much to do, free groups, whether it's a clean eating group or something like that. To me, they're probably one of the single most important things in your business because they are your funnel. They are taking people from a cold market and helping you build them into a warm and hot market by giving them that free value. They're going to build a relationship with you, build so much trust with you, and see the value in you that when it comes time for the invite to your actual challenge group, they're going to be like, yeah, you know what? Her other group was great. So this next one is going to be fantastic. I trust her. She's awesome. She really helped me. And they will take that plunge with you a lot easier than they would if they're just some randomer who doesn't really know you. So anyway, I didn't even hit Success Club until I think it was my 3rd month of being a coach. So I wasn't one of those people that was like Success Club bazillion. It was really, really hard. I seriously hold the record for hitting my final point, 15 minutes on the last of the month. I remember it was 8:45 p.m. Pacific and I was sweating bullets. And I really pushed for it because the prize that month was a free ticket to Coach Summit. This was before Success Starters. I wanted that freaking ticket and I made it happen. And ever since then, that was the goal. Okay, Success Club, Success Club, Success Club. And it was my 4th month whenever I went Emerald. So certainly nothing happened fast. So if you're not someone who blasted out of the gate, that's no indicator of where you can go in this business. You can go anywhere. You just have to be consistent and not give up and just keep that why and that fire alive inside of you. All right. Don't compare to all these other people who were here. They did 10-star diamond in 3 days or whatever like that. Okay, it may happen, but they're very rare. The other 400 and something thousand of us don't tend to really do that. And it's okay. All right. Everyone has their own journey. So anyway, Team Cup, 7 months into it, just quit my job. I got invited to my sponsor coach's team. She was like, okay, let's all do this Team Cup thing together, in it to win it, whatever. We're like, great. But I knew I was barely scraping by Success Club 5 every month. I really was. It wasn't easy. It was really, really hard. But I was pushing myself to hit it every month. I most certainly never hit Success Club 10. But she saw some kind of potential in me, thank God. And we just decided to go balls to the walls. But I knew being in this team, I had to do a little bit more. I had to add more people to my network. And I'm so thankful for this Team Cup, because for about 2 weeks leading up to that month before it started, I did nothing but find new people and form them, just build relationships with them. I wasn't inviting them. I wasn't doing anything. I was just connecting with them, adding them to my free group, giving them as much value as possible. I mean, I got a lot of people in there. I think probably I added like 100 people in like 2 weeks or something, and just formed the crap out of them. And by the time that month came and Team Cup kicked off, we were all very comfortable to, invite them to a challenge by the end of the month. We had plenty of time to have built that relationship. And so from someone who struggled to hit Success Club 5 every single month, I closed out that month at Success Club 34. That's like stupidly mind-blowing. If someone had told me I would have even hit like 10 or 15 points, I probably wouldn't have believed that. So even saying, oh, you're going to do 34 points, no. It was just crazy, absolutely crazy. And I wasn't the only one. The other girls in our group, they were all in the same place as me. And the same with my friend Natalie O'Leary, who's 2-time elite coach. She was exactly the same place as me. And she did about 34 points as well, because we were kind of doing like this little inner competition thing, trying to one-up each other. And so I was speaking to her about this too. And she said that was her most significant moment in this business, was this Team Cup team, because we just went in it. We weren't saying, okay, what if I fail, or I don't want to get in because I'm scared of, not contributing to the team. We just decided, let's just do this for a laugh and see what we do. And we actually closed out Team Cup joint first place, right? And I say joint first because whenever they did the tiebreaker, we came third. But I like to say joint first because it sounds better, right? You got to like hold on to those accolades and stuff. So for me, I was like, dude, like if I can do 34 points, what's stopping me from doing it again next month? Like absolutely nothing. You just have to keep fueling your pipeline. You just keep me finding new people and adding that value to them. It's just wash, rinse, repeat. That's all this business is. It's just, it's mundane and it's annoying. You really do just have to do the vital behaviors, but that's truly where the success initially came from, and it still does come from. I saw it in that moment. So if I was never in that team, I would have never known I was capable of 34 points. I went diamond that month as well, and so did my friend Natalie and all the other girls in our Team Cup. It was a good month for our sponsor coach. And it was just phenomenal. So we kept that going. We kept riding that wave. And, that, like I said, it totally unlocked our potential. So Team Cup is huge. If you're not in this one, you have to get into the next one. You have to give yourself that chance to see what you are made of. You have to, and your new coaches as well. For me, whenever a Team Cup comes up now, I take my newer coaches, but the ones that have a little bit of potential, who've been getting some points on the board, and I bring them in and just mentor the crap out of them and say, let's go. And all of them grow into amazing leaders. They all do, because they just ran with it as well. And that's the attitude here. Team Cup is not this competition where like, oh, if you don't get points, you're a failure. It's just go for it. Like, why are you here? You have a why. Whether you just want to help people, you don't care about making money, well, why not try helping like 20 people in 1 month, right? Or if you are here for the income, well, then just go bananas. Or, if you're somewhere in between like me, like you can't do anything wrong in this business. That's the beautiful thing. I always say this business is like good karma. The more you help, the more you give, the more it comes back to you. So it's just not a bad thing at all whatsoever. You could be the greediest person in the world, want all the money, but you're still going to be helping people. So it really doesn't matter. All right. So that was like my first 7 months in the business. Then I got pregnant and kind of all went like, I don't want to work. And I got morning sickness. And yeah. So I didn't really actually do anything with the business after that until about 1.5 years into it. So this is 2 years ago. It was January 2014. Popped my baby out. I decided I'd lost my rank. I'd lost my diamond. Everything had fallen apart. I'd really just put the business on the back burner. I used my pregnancy as an excuse. I did want to chill, and that was it. And I know some people don't do that. I am happy with the decision I made. If I had a coach who did it now, I'd be like, don't do that, don't do that. But it was the right decision for me at the time. So yeah, dropped rank and all that. Lost Success Club, or else I would have been like really in Success Club Legend quite a while now. But no, I lost everything, and it made me reassess a lot of things. So I was about to have my baby, and I was thinking to myself, I don't want to be going back to retail. I don't want to be doing the 6 weeks maternity leave crap and then the optional 6 weeks unpaid. Like, I want to be with my kid. I want to be able to stay at home and be there and not hand him over to strangers or be missing him all day. And so suddenly this new why evolved. a year and a half later, right before my baby came, my first son. And so I just started getting back to basics. I was like 8 months pregnant and just started like finding people, informing them, because I was like, I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to have an amazing transformation. I'm going to blow my business up again. And it wasn't BS. It actually happened. So, right. With me and my business, I have this timeline. I have this first year and a half of kind of just going around in circles. Team Cup was a great little spike, but I kind of wasn't really achieving anything. And then there's this other like 2.5 year part. This is where I feel like I really started working my business. So I don't feel like I've been here 4 years. I feel like I've been here 2.5. January 2014, poof, Gabriel comes out. I'm all postpartum and feeling flabby, 50 pounds overweight. Guess what just got released in February? 21-day fix. Perfect timing. Literally the week I got the clearance from the doctor after my C-section was the week it came out. Perfect. And so I just like killed my results, got amazing before and afters. I'm actually in the infomercial and stuff. I'm all like, yeah, if it fits, you can eat it. That's me. You can hear my voice. I don't think they put me in because I look a little bit crazy. But yeah, I just went bananas and I decided, I made a decision, like decide, commit, succeed. It sounds cheesy, but it's really true. I just made a decision. I'm going to go all in. I'm not going back to work. I'm going to stay here with my kid. And that was it. So I went all in and just ran with the business ever since then. However, whenever my son was 5 weeks old, we had a little bit of bad news. I was filming this little video showing my containers because, you know, the program had just come out, and I was like showing people on YouTube, like, look, this is a purple and you put fruit in it and stuff like that. And then I saw my husband walking past the window, and it was during the day while I was videoing. So this got caught on camera, and I like look and I'm like, why is my husband home? And he walked in the door and he was like, I just got laid off. I'm like, so yeah, right in the middle of my beautiful little video, I'm all like purples. And then you see me go, yeah. So that was a bad video. So my baby was 5 weeks old. My husband was the main breadwinner. I'm a retail girl, so let's face it, I wasn't making that much money. And he just got laid off. Apparently they wanted to do it for a while, but they didn't want to do it while his wife is pregnant, so they do it whenever, you know, the baby's 5 weeks old. So we were just like, dude, what do we do? Like, what do we do? And so he was like, right, I'm going to look for a job, go on unemployment. But we made a decision in that time while he was going to look for a new job. Let's just go all in with this business. He's going to be home. He'll take care of the baby and give me a chance to just really go in with the business, like actually do this. And that was actually the moment we retired my husband, because he never actually had to go back to work. So he's been retired for 2.5 years. We matched his income about 6 months after he got laid off. And yeah, he's been here. We've been a stay-at-home family ever since. So there's a lot of kind of like lessons scattered here along the way. There were opportunities as well, most definitely. The fact that he got laid off, it gave us that extra little push to just go all in with the business. But it worked. It really got us somewhere. And yeah, so that was fantastic. It's great now that he's home. It helps me be a full-time coach. Anyway, I'm just rambling on. So I want to get to like the real meat and potatoes of all this. I want to talk about how exactly I find people now. So whenever I told you guys, 2014, I just had a baby. I did 21-day fix. Business was great. So I just launched a like page, and for some reason it worked really well. I think Facebook algorithms were fantastic back then. So it showed everyone who liked the page the stuff on the page. You didn't have to boost posts then. And I just suddenly started getting lots of people every month coming to me. I suddenly found myself not having to invite anymore. I was like, this is what they mean when people come to you and you don't have to invite anymore. And I rode that wave of my postpartum journey for about a year. No joke, I didn't have to invite. And I don't mean this as a good thing. This was a huge freaking lesson for me. That wave died, right? And I found myself one day really, really without business, without any customers, putting my posts out, no one replying, no one responding. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm not having any conversations with people anymore. I'm going to have to invite. And then I realized I wasn't being a good leader, because I wasn't leading by example. I was telling my team to go do their daily vital behaviors, and you have to invite like 3 to 5 people every day, but I wasn't doing it and hadn't done it for a year because people were just gravitating to me. And ever since then, that was about a year and a half ago, I actually have had to personally invite every single day. So don't have this little illusion of how you can be here long enough that you never have to invite ever again. Yeah, it can get better through attraction marketing, that people will come to you through sharing your story, sharing your vulnerabilities and all that, but you can never fully lay off private messaging. So something Eric Worre says is, whenever you put up like a promotional post, that's being lazy. For me, that's not an invite. That is literally a promotion. You're planting a seed with your audience. You're saying, hey, I have a group coming up, blah, blah, blah. please never expect anything to come from that. That is the right mentality to have from it. What happens is you go out and then you personally message people and you invite them. And then whenever they see that invite, they're like, oh yeah, I saw you posted something about that the other day. Tell me more about it. So never lean on that as your way to get Success Club or for people to come to you. People never come to me when I put my posts out, but whenever I go to invite, they're more than happy to know the information because they're seeing what's going on. They're seeing what I'm putting out there. In saying that, I do those promotional posts, join my challenge type stuff once or twice a month. That is it. The rest of my page is really branding me. It's sharing who I am. And one of the biggest takeaways I got from Coach Summit was just be you. Be unapologetically you. Don't be rude or like don't be nasty to people, but share who you are. You know, we have Success Leaves Clues. Look at all the top coaches. They've really branded who they are. You know, Lindsay Matway, she does the whole like personal development stuff. She does the God thing, and that's great. That's who she attracts. That's who her audience is. That's who she is. And you want to attract really who you are. You have someone like Amy Silverman who's not doing that. She's doing more of the spiritual yoga stuff and all that. And that's exactly who she attracts to her tribe. So this is what you really should be sharing. You have to sit down and work out who you are. And I'm not just talking about your 5 passions, but actually think about who exactly you are. What gave me a little light bulb moment one time was, you know, you hear about there's certain times of day to make a really good post, like Sunday night's a great time to post, or don't post something on a weekend night. Everyone's out. So I never used to post my promotional posts on a weekend night. But what I realized is my avatar is that woman who likes to stay home in bed on a Friday night and read a book or watch Netflix with my husband and maybe chill, right? So my avatar, the person who's just like me, actually is home on a Friday night and is doing nothing, is scrolling Facebook. So for me, that's actually a really ideal time for me to post to connect with my tribe because they're just like me. They're sitting home watching Netflix, doing nothing but scrolling Facebook. I don't scroll Facebook, by the way. I use it for work purposes. We all have a little bit of scrolling. We all have scrolling thumb. So lesson here is really work out who you are and really experiment with what times of day work best for you. If there's a certain time of day that you're on there, then your ideal audience is on there around that same time. Like if you're a breastfeeding mama, some of the best conversations and invites I had was at 2 a.m. while I was feeding my son with my phone in my other hand, right? Because you're connecting with all the other women who are up in the middle of the night breastfeeding their kids. So there aren't any real rules here. Just really work out who you are and what your brand is and run with that. Be very proud of who you are and what you're into, whether it's like gardening or skydiving or anything like that, but share that and get out there and get into like-minded groups of people who like that stuff. So this is really where I'm going with how do you find people and how I built my network from nothing. So there are like 2 main ways to really find people on Facebook. I'm just going into Facebook because that's what I use. That's my jam. The other stuff doesn't, whatever. I don't understand Instagram at all. I post there, but I don't know how to work it. So like pages, something that's definitely working very well for me now is my like page, but I'm not going to go into that simply because a like page is not something you need to have in the beginning, right? I ran my business off my personal page for seriously probably the first 3 years of my business. It only really dried up last winter and I had to really move to my like page. You have such an amazing, rich, warm market on your personal page. And even if it's not the people who you're connected with who are super interested, all of those people are a doorway to like another 200 to 300 people. So don't be afraid to like connect with their friends and things like that. You know, if you look at mutual friends and things like that and someone, you go to their page and you see they're in the like-minded stuff, don't be afraid to send a friend request and connect with them. Melanie Mitchell was all about that stuff. Like, you know, go through your high school friends and then go through their friends and blah, 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 blah. So that's a really rich resource. But I'm going to talk more about the way that I did it for a long time, which was groups. So I don't know if any of you like go into like-minded groups. I know a lot of us fall into this trap of going into fitness groups, right? Your Beachbody coach. The first place you think to go to find people who want to work out is going to fitness groups. It's a little bit of a trap because as soon as you go in there, either one, there's 50 million Beachbody coaches in there blowing the place up and being really sally and spammy. So as soon as you go in, people like have daggers out for you and want to kill you. Or they just don't want to hear it because they're doing their own thing. So I don't overly recommend fitness groups. If you do go into a fitness group, just be a normal human being. Just make friends. Just talk to people. You don't have to go in there promoting that you're a coach or your challenge or something like that. The key thing that worked for me in my business is seriously just making a friend with someone and building a relationship through having a conversation. And over time, you can go in with that invite because you've connected with them enough, and you can simply hit them up with that invite of, hey girl, like I'm starting this challenge in a couple of days. I don't know if you saw my last post about my last challenge, but I'm looking for 3 people. I just thought it would be super fun to do together. Let me know if you're interested. Like, how non-salesy is that? That's super friendly. You're just basically saying like, hey, let's do this together. It's gonna be really good fun. Or would you happen to know of anyone? That's what I do. I don't go and like spam in these groups. I just make friends with people. And between friend requesting them, there's this little gap here of like building relationships before we invite. And that's the awkward little gap, right? You friended someone, you've added them to your network. You maybe had a little bit of chit chat like, hi, how are you? How did you find me? Where do you live? Blah, blah, blah. But then there's this awkward gap, right? Of when do I go in with the invite? We said hi, they're there, they're following me. But how am I comfortable enough to actually do this invite without it being kind of awkward? And so that's where I have this system. Janelle Summers shared a while back, and I shared with my team. We call it the CCQ. Sounds so professional. But what it simply means is comment, compliment, and question. So I'm going to break this down for you a little bit. What I do is I aim to friend request a certain amount of people every day. I do bigger numbers because I'm a full-time coach. I probably could do more. I'm a little bit lazy. But I send out like 20 friend requests a day to people. It's people I'm connecting with in groups. It's people I'm connecting with on my like page. About 50% of them accept. So I add about 10 people a day. I don't count the 20 as the friend requests. I count the 10 people who accepted the request. They are the people who I added to my network for the day. What I do right away is I used to fall into this trap of, great, a new friend. Now they can follow me and follow all my stuff. I failed to build a relationship with them from the get-go. So now what I do is as soon as I accept that friend request, I shoot them a message right away. And I just say something like, hey, thanks for accepting my friend request. I'm really excited to connect with you. I'm always looking to make friends with like-minded people. I start a conversation with them right away from the get-go. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I'm just trying to be a human, and I'm just saying thanks. Go in with a question. I say something like, where are you from? Or, do you have kids too? Whatever it is. If you don't have kids, obviously don't ask that question. You follow your heart a lot in this business. A lot of it is your instinct. You have to just listen to that when it comes to questions. And of course, you know where they're from. You can go to their Facebook page. You can see where they're from. It doesn't matter. This whole business is about being interested in other people, not being interesting. So when you're having these conversations with these new people, just focus on them. Just keep asking them questions. Even if they're coming back and they're like, how are you? How many kids do you have? Answer them briefly, spin back another question to them. Keep it about them. That really builds the relationship. It shows that you care about them. They're going to really feel that. They're going to feel the trust with you. It's not fake. You are building a relationship with them. So that's been fantastic for me. As soon as that friend request is accepted, build that relationship with them instantly. And then if, they fade off into oblivion for a while, at least if you go to invite them someday, you've had a conversation with them. Because there's nothing worse when you go to invite someone and you open up your messenger and you realize there's been zero conversation. And you're like, how do I invite this person? This is awkward. So, right. Back to groups a little bit. I'll reverse because I kind of jumped ahead a little bit into my CCQ. I'll get to that. I'm a little bit scattered. I'm hyper. I'm a sapphire, and I'm Irish. It's just not good it's not a good whatever. I got a little bit hyper there. Right, so groups. This is what I'm going to tell you to do. Right, instead of going in the fitness groups, I want you, again, to look at your brand and who you are and what you are into. So if you're a mommy, if you like to do breastfeeding, or if you don't do breastfeeding, if you do cloth diapering, go find those groups and start making friends with like-minded people. In saying that, you're still very likely to find a lot of Beachbody coaches in that group because there's a lot of us mommies who breastfeed and cloth diaper and all of that. So I take it one step further. I'm very airy-fairy. I'm very spiritual. I'm into the law of attraction and all this positivity stuff, and I do angel card readings and all of that. So I just take off to those groups. I mean, really, how many coaches are going to be like that, right? So I go out into those groups, and I'm not right away like, hey, guys, I'm a coach. Join me. I just add myself. And I may do a little intro post so people see who I am. So I might take like a pretty little picture and just do a post introducing myself. And I'll say something like, hey everybody, I'm new to this group. My name's Ashleen. I'm a mom of a toddler, and I'm just looking to connect with like-minded moms who have toddlers too. Send me a friend request if you're interested in making friends. That's really, really easy. But at the same time, I'm really targeting who I want to actually send me the friend request there. I'm being really specific. I'm saying you got to be a mom, you got to have a toddler, right? I'm not saying, hey, everyone send me a friend request, because I'm really looking to connect with those who are where I am at right now. Of course you get friend requests from the weirdo guys. There's always guys who just friend you anyway, and you're like, are you a mom? Do you breastfeed? No. Why are you friend requesting me? But it's okay. If you do guys, that's fine. I don't mean do guys. I just don't personally invite guys. That's just my thing. They're a little bit of drama, which is weird. So yeah, that's a really good way to go in there and instantly make connection with people and make your presence known by just being you and not being Sally. And then after that, I just make a conscious connection of going into that group like every day and just simply adding value. So I'll go on to other people's posts, get in the conversation, just be a human being, just talk back and forth on their posts, ask them questions, comment about whatever it was, that post they made. Like, I did a skydive yesterday. That's amazing. Where did you go? I'm really interested in, doing one. Or were you scared? Or how much did it cost? Ask them questions. It doesn't matter. Just ask them questions. Show that interest because they will want to keep talking to you. When you ask people questions, they want to talk back to you. But if you just say something like, awesome, they're not going to respond to that. They'll probably just go and you're like, well, that conversation didn't really develop, did it? So always ask questions. And then you can take it one step further than that. You're in a group with like-minded people, and it's stuff that you like to post about, right? I like to post about angel cards and airy-fairy stuff and positivity. So I will take a post that I maybe did on my own page, and I share it into that group. Because if I'm sharing about how, I read this amazing book on positivity and law of attraction, then maybe these people might be interested in that too. So I'll post that in that page and say, hey guys, I was just sharing about this amazing book I read. I know you're all into this, so I thought I would let you all know about this. I just added value to that group. I added something in there showing them that, hey, this is something really cool you all might be interested in. It's a way to spark conversation with those people in those groups and give them something that they're interested in. It gets them to come to your post, start talking to you. And whenever, again, you feel that the conversation has gone to the right place, send them that friend request or even say, hey, we really connect. Do you want to friend each other and talk more in private or whatever. But that's how I built my network. It was just being a human being relatable, and just being focused on bringing value to other people in these groups. There are so many groups out there. So really make a list, sit down and think about what you are and what you're interested in. It's very easy to say, I'm not interested in anything. We're interested in tons of things, even if it's shows, TV shows. Are you interested in TV shows? Are you interested in bands, certain music? There are always things. Are you interested in weird things? Whatever, go to those groups. So just hit up those people, make friends, and the next thing you realize, you're growing your network with your tribe. People are starting to join your challenge groups who are part of your tribe, who are into your thing. You should see my team page. It's called Team Shine for a reason. We're all airy-fairy, and it's just all law of attraction posts, and everyone's like, yeah, that's our team, right? By the way, I was around before Bonnie Engel, right? Team Shine. It's my name, just saying. I actually saw her at the airport last week, and I told her as well. I was like, by the way, my team's the same name, but I signed up before you, so I've trademarked it. Right. Anyway, so let's move along. We talked about groups, adding value there. I'm going to go to the CCQ thing now. So, like I said, you've added people as your friend at this stage. You've had a little chit-chat. How do we bridge that gap to actually feel comfortable to do the invite without feeling like uber stalker? So here's this little method. See my beautiful little book? I'm a pen and paper girl, right? I just recently moved to Teamsy. I won't get into that right now because I don't know how to explain it. So I'll just show you how I used to do it. So you can see there's little yellow dividers in there. So these are the little sections of what I do to keep track of my conversations. So the first yellow section is fines. So I make a note of everyone I friend request, but these aren't necessarily the people who've accepted me. Whenever they accept my friend request, I highlight them in pink, right? So that's one day there. That was a bad day. I clearly wasn't feeling working, so I added 6 people. Right, but I take note of who exactly accepted me, and then I move them on to the next part. They've been added to my network. Now I'm going to CCQ. I'm going to comment, compliment, and question. So the next day, rather than just forgetting about that person, they're gone, happily ever after, bye-bye until my invite, I put them on the list here. So whenever I'm right, I'm going to actually go and build relationships with people, I have a fresh list. These are all my pink people who accepted me yesterday. They are now here. Time to move the relationship along. I look at these people and I go to their Facebook pages. I take about maybe 15, 20 minutes. This really doesn't take long. And I go onto their page and I seriously find a post. I comment on it. I put a little compliment and I ask a question. It's so freaking simple, but they're going to care so much that you took the time to go to their page and show enthusiasm and care and ask them something on their post. So don't be fake. Don't find a post that doesn't resonate with you and be like, wow, that doesn't work. But have a little sift through and find something that you liked, whether it was, a post about their kid or a recipe, something like that, something that you can gel with, and just put a comment on it. So what I do is I'll go on, might be a picture of like their kid going back to school. Everyone's doing those posts right now. And I'll just say something like, wow, time is super flying by. By the way, like her clothes are so super cute. I can't believe like she's in like first grade, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. You make your comment, but you put a compliment in there. Like, your kid looks so cute. She's growing up so fast. Wow. How does it feel seeing like your little one moving into second grade now? There's the question. So you're just being a human being. You're doing your comment, there's a little compliment in there, and you're asking a question. Or if someone shared a recipe that you like, you could just say something like, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. Absolutely love that. You know what? Like, do you have any other good recipes you could share with me, or whatever? Just ask them whatever. It really, really doesn't matter. The idea is you're there and you're not just saying awesome or cute kid or whatever. You're there showing interest and you're asking them something. They're going to answer you. I'm telling you, they respond because that person, that coach that they're like, really look up to and are really inspired by, took time to talk to them on their page. So they're going to start having a conversation with you. Have a little bit of back and forth. It really builds a relationship. And you can keep going with this for weeks if you want. I'm not saying do it every day, maybe once a week or something. Go off that list, go back, comment on their page and so on. But this is a real follow your heart game. So my team gets really lost here between the friend requests and actually inviting them. They're like, well, how long do I do this for? Like, when's the right time? There's just not a right time. It's following your instincts and following your heart. Maybe you hit it off with someone you friend requested yesterday and you guys like private message the entire day to the point where you really feel comfortable with inviting them today. Maybe you're like, you know what? Hey, like, I know you were talking to me yesterday about like thinking about starting the gym. I actually have one spot left in my challenge group, and do you want to know a little bit more about it? If you feel comfortable enough to do it, maybe you need to leave it a few weeks. Maybe it needs to be longer. You follow your heart. You wait until you feel like it's going to be friendly enough, but don't wait forever either. Like, you can't wait until like literally like they're spelling it out for you. I need help. Like, don't wait that long. Follow your heart. Just as long as you feel like the relationship is being built and you guys have back and forth enough, try it, give it a go. But it's a really good way of just building those relationships with those people that you added. If you're doing this every day as part of your vital behaviors of doing your invites, adding your people to your network and so on, and forming, that's all considered part of your invites, right? That's like do a day. Invites is not only adding people or inviting people to a challenge group, it's adding people to your network. Attract, connect, invite. That's what Carl says. So get them in, connect with them, and invite. That falls into that category there. And it doesn't have to take too long, guys. I'm a full-time coach. I get this whole thing done in less than 2 hours. I add people to my network. I build a relationship by CCQing. I do invites and I do follow-ups, and it takes less than 2 hours. I do it in 30-minute intervals. If you only have an hour a day to get your power hour done, maybe a little bit less, do that in 15-minute intervals. Do your adding people to your network, and then take 15 minutes maybe later to go CCQ on the people you added yesterday. Go to their page, build a relationship. Take another 15 minutes later to throw out a couple invites and do your follow-ups. It's really not that hard to get a focused power hour done. That's the key word. Focused. So for me, I was very, very scattered for a long time. I am the queen of inconsistency. Seriously, if I was consistent, like, this would be a totally different story I'm telling you here. It's a battle for me. I have to sit down and make myself actually do the work every day if it gets done. So what you really need to do is just be really, really focused. So what I mean is, whenever you're actually doing invites, when you sit down and you get your 5 names and you're like, right, I'm going to invite these 5 people. There you go. You've just sent out your first invite, and the next thing, boom, they reply back to you. It doesn't matter. Leave it alone. Get your other 4 invites done. Okay, just focus on the task that you are doing. Get them done. If you don't, you're going to start doing this whole scatter thing back and forth. And next thing, your 5-minute, invite session is turned into like this 2-hour, damn, I didn't really get anything done. And this person's faded off into oblivion. So just whenever you're doing one thing, do one thing. They say turn off notifications. I don't know how to do that. Just focus on one thing at a time. That's the biggest advice I can give you, or it's going to turn into a really, really long time. Something Amy Silverman said, on the cruise in the top 10 panel, someone asked her, like, how do you manage your time? Like, do you not feel like you're on Facebook 24/7, especially for someone who's in the top 10, right? My idea is, God, they must be just doing this all day. And she was just like, no, I'm on Facebook about 3 to 4 hours a day. Like, it's really manageable. It's just, I'm focused. I'm not doing all the other things. Whenever I'm doing something, I'm doing something. When I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm not, I'm not. And that's the mindset you have to be in, is remember, no matter what, you're running a business. And when you're doing your business activities, do them. If there was like a manager overlooking you and you're supposed to be doing one activity and you start doing something else, your manager's going to come along and be like, what are you doing? Right? They're going to be like, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not your job. Your job was to invite, right? Now I'm going to have to reprimand you or whatever. I don't know. So the point is, just be focused. When you're doing one thing, do it and then move along to the next. It doesn't have to take all day. Personally, for someone who's full-time, I work about 5 hours a day. I do 3 hours in the morning, so this is my final hour right now. 2 hours is the power hour for me. And then the final hour is doing like social media, doing calls. I do another hour and a half in the afternoon, a little bit of personal development, working with my team. And the final half hour is just social media. That's full-time. But see, the thing is, it's really focused. When I'm doing my work, I'm doing my work. I'm not off chasing the kid or, scrolling the feed or whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm doing focused work. So that's a huge takeaway. And that was a huge lesson that I had to learn. Also, if you want to make the CCQ thing, like commenting on their posts a little bit easier, rather than having to take your time to like go into all these individual pages, what I do now is, do you know that you can make lists on Facebook? So you can pull up your own newsfeed, right? So what I do is whenever I add a new person to my network, I put them into a newsfeed, a list of just prospects. So I can pull that up. So my entire newsfeed is just people I'm forming right now, rather than everyone else scattered everywhere and people who've been following for ages and 50 million coaches and Granny and everyone else, right? Just a list for just your prospects. And all you do is scroll down that. Right, right. We all have our news feed. We have to have our news feed fixed for the day, where we have to scroll, right, and comment and stuff. Use that instead. That's a way to go into a news feed, scroll, and get work done. So every post you're going on to is your prospect. It's that new person you're building a relationship with, and you just go through there, see a post, comment, compliment, question. Next person, comment, compliment, question. Next person, comment, compliment, question. Great way to get through your news feed, get through that task really, really fast, and get your news feed fixed. And I think that's about it. Yeah, the only other things I have in this book. So I've got that. Then you can, Janelle says take them over the private messaging as well. Like you can take it one step further and start talking to them in private. I don't personally do that so much because I feel like whenever I friend request people in the beginning, I've already talked to them a little bit in private messaging anyway. So I feel like they've got that part of me. Then they're getting the other part of me where I'm talking to them in public on Facebook. So I'm very comfortable to go ahead and just do the invite whenever the time is right. Whenever we are on definitely like laughing basis and, emojicons and things like that. I don't even know how you spell those. I've got a question. How do you make a list on Facebook? I don't really know. So, okay. I believe you go into, Brianne, woohoo! So I just kind of found it by accident one day and I was like, great. And I've never really done it ever again. It's pretty easy. I'm pretty sure there's just somewhere that says lists and you just click on it and it allows you to add people to a new list and then you pull it up as a separate news feed. But I'll leave her to do that for you. But yeah, that's really how I keep track of that because it is a lot. You need to keep track of who you're adding to your network. Then you transfer them over to a little CCQ list and keep track of them. And then from there, I make a list of who I'm inviting and then who I need to follow up. So I've got like the 4 lists to keep track. I've since then moved to Teamsy and it makes it very, very, very easy. I'm not sure if any of you use Teamsy at all. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a really great way to keep track of this. And what I love the most about Teamsy is it really focuses on the connects. So not necessarily the invites, but connecting with people. And that's exactly what this method is about. This is about just connecting with people and building relationships. You do have to do your invites every day, but put a lot of your focus on really just warming up that cold market and building the relationships. It's going to make your job so much easier. You're going to see people so much more open to like your invites and your challenge groups. And it's just going to make this a lot more enjoyable. Plus you're really finding people who are like-minded like you because you've been finding them in like-minded groups. And it just makes life a lot more pleasant. I'm not saying like don't accept people who aren't like you or anything like that. We have a lot of different people in my group and in my challenge groups, but most of them, it's like a mirror image of myself because I put out a very specific brand of who I am. And so that gravitates a lot of people towards me like that. Okay, so that's kind of like brought me up to date. I don't really think I have much else to share other than that. Just really dial in with your brand and just really focus on building relationships because that's what worked for me. I really built myself 100% on Facebook. Now that I know more people in this country, I've definitely had people I've invited and they've joined and become coaches and stuff like that. But I would seriously say it's like 1%. I'm 99% Facebook, social media, and it's all through this. It's just being consistent and just constantly loading your pipeline so you never run out of people and just constantly building that relationship and inviting them. And don't be afraid to invite. This is my last little bit I want to add here. So a lot of people have fear on invites, and I'm not even going to get into recruiting, which is not a dirty word, by the way. It's actually a gift. But just whenever you're going to invite, it's very easy to be afraid and feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I want something from them. They're going to say no because I'm asking them to buy something. This is a total opposite. This is all mindset, right? This is a case of you need to remember what Beachbody did for you for a start. Whenever you sit down and do your invites, think about why you even became a coach or why you even got your program in the first place, right? Because you were looking for something in your life to help you with a problem, whether it was your weight or your health or how you're feeling, nutrition, or maybe the business opportunity, whatever it was. But there was a problem and you were looking for a solution, and you found that solution. That's why you came on board with it and you fell in love with it, which is why you became a coach. So whenever you're going out to invite people, remember that. Remember that this is a solution, and there are people out there every night going to bed crying, praying, looking for something to help them with their problem. Please never, ever, ever prejudge everyone. The first big lesson I ever learned in my first month of being a coach, I listened to a Johnny Johnson call. I'm not really a fan of her, but something stuck out in my head what she said. And she said, never prejudge anyone you're going to invite. You never know what's going on in their life. You may think, oh, I'm never going to invite that person or someone who's on your chicken list, but you just never know. They might actually say yes. And one lesson I found in this business is most of the people you think will say yes will probably say no, and most of the people you think will say no will probably say yes. So just invite everyone. You know why? Because if you don't, you are doing them a disservice. You're being selfish. You're holding them back from the opportunity to say yes or no. Like, how dare you? How dare you not give someone the opportunity to look at what you have and decide for themselves if they want to do it or not, right? So don't ever hold back. Let them know how you can help them. If they say no, it's never really a no. It's just a no, not right now, but it's not personal either. They're just not in that place right now. It's nothing personal. It's not a rejection. It's just they're not interested in that right now. They're not in that place, or maybe they are, but they genuinely can't afford it. Whatever. The point is you have something that most people want. That's why people go off to eBay. That's why people download it. That's why people do whatever they can to save money to get what you have. So just hold your head high and know that we have something freaking awesome. Our brand, like Beachbody, is like a top class product. There is nothing wrong with what we have here. We're not wrapping ourselves up in anything. We're not like taking pills, or we're not starving ourselves. Whatever. You have something to be really proud of. It's a gift. So hold yourself high. And when you go to doing your invites, be freaking proud of sending out that invite, because that person should be honored at the fact you reached out to invite them to this. It is a gift to be shared. Remember that when you go to invite every single day. It's a good energy to start it with as well. Good energy to get people to say yes. All right, so that was my little rant over, I guess, my life story. Want to know anything else?
This was good. This was so informative. And you know what? I am very much a pen and paper person too. So it's nice to see other people that when everybody's like, you need to do Excel and you need to do all this stuff. And I'm like, no. It just doesn't work for me. Like, I've tried Excel and I've tried this, and I just need to have something in front of me, because if it's in an app on my phone or if it's somewhere else, I don't check it. Yeah. I need to sort of carry it with me. So it's nice to know that there's a few of us like dinosaurs who don't like to use all of the new stuff just yet. Does anybody have any questions before we let Ashleen go?
You can ask me anything.
Oh, maybe.
They're quiet.
I know they'll say they won't have questions, and then I post the recording in the team page, and there's like a whole thread of stuff underneath afterwards. Plus, we have people on the phone, and I don't know how to unmute them.
I always feel sorry for the people on the phone, because it's like, you're muted, sorry. Deal with it.
But they can't just unmute themselves, and if I unmute everybody, then it's all so, all right. Well, I appreciate you coming on and taking the time. This was super informative. This was super helpful. Guys, this is going to go up in the team page. I'm going to try to get this up now. So tag your teams, because they absolutely need to watch this, especially in regards to the whole thing about Team Cup. Super, super important. Make sure that you are pushing. If you're leading a team, make sure that you're pushing your coaches. If you're on a team, push yourself, push your teammates. Super important. And it's very funny. I'm going to talk about Team Cup, that exact same Team Cup on your call tonight. So it was so funny to hear you talk about that exact cup earlier in the call. So thank you for coming on and taking the time. I'm excited to chat with you guys later.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good day, guys.
To be here.
Bye.
Bye.